15 months after the war in Gaza began, a 42-day ceasefire comes into force today. While the ceasefire announcement has brought hope to many in the region, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that Tel Aviv had US support to return to war if necessary. Well, the Israeli government has approved the new Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal with Hamas, but the suspense looms as Israel has yet not received the final list of hostages to be released. As per the deal, 33 Israeli hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza after 15 months of conflict will be exchanged for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails during the first phase, lasting 6 weeks. Netanyahu has also said that Israel will continue to occupy Philadelphia corridor, which is a clear violation of the ceasefire deal. Well, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the ceasefire won't begin until Israel receives the name of the hostages who are slated to be released today. Hamas has meanwhile said the delay is due to technical reasons, and the terror group also says that it confirms its commitment to the terms of the ceasefire agreement. Well, that is the latest coming in at the moment. We also have senior journalist and West Asia strategist Dr. Wail Awad joining us on the broadcast here. Dr. Awad, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. What do you have to say about the situation at the moment? Well, we do believe this definitely comes as a breakthrough in Israel-Gaza peace efforts. However, Hamas has yet not confirmed the list of hostages to Israel, and the fighting, well, the attacks on Gaza, still continue.
Thank you, Diti. I think the agreement is already in place, but there are little violation from the Israeli side where they have attacked 2 places in Gaza. As you have said, yes, there are 5 people died and more than 10 injured. And Israel also declining to have the ceasefire in place because of the list has not been submitted. And the list, why Hamas is saying right now, was saying that it is because of the logistic. It's nothing to do with the names that they have been delayed intentionally, because it's very difficult to communicate with their cadets on the ground, with the telephone or with the phones they're having, because of the Israeli drones are being covering. And yesterday, continuously for more than 12 hours, non-stop bombardment. So there is a delay in the giving the list of the 3 names, whether these 3 prisoners or these will be military soldiers, the females. So they will get at least, if these 3 females are released, there will be released for each one 30 Palestinian prisoners. So I think that little delay, but we can see the street of Gaza, West Bank, everybody in jubilation. There are lots of hopes that this war is come to an end. And also we could see many of our colleagues who are covering on the ground, they removed their bulletproof jackets and their helmets. And that is also an indication where the Israelis also start moving their tanks from Jabalia, from the northern part of Gaza, which is a clear indication that both sides have to honor an agreement. And they have already given assurances to the mediator with US, Qatar, and Egypt.
Yes, absolutely. But Dr. Awad, many have pointed out to the fact that the terms of the ceasefire deal are still vague. It's not clear what really happens after 6 weeks. But if it does go through smoothly, perhaps it's a way forward for the conclusion of the war.
Well, I think that is the truth. It will all depend on the objective of the government of Netanyahu, because we know that it has been on the table for the last 8 months, this agreement, which Israel and Prime Minister refused to implement it, DT. And in fact, even Biden has mentioned and acknowledged in his speech that it was the Biden administration who gave the same deal to Israeli, but because of his local coalition governments and because of his ego, he did not stop this war and continue the catastrophe and the bombardment on Palestine, where they lost more than 46,000. And in fact, if you look at the infrastructure destruction of Gaza, you will be shocked to see that more than 90% of the infrastructure totally destroyed, more than 95% of the houses has been destroyed, and 2.5 million people completely displaced. So therefore, I think the international community made it very clear, even President Trump, who goes the credit for him, that he wanted to see a ceasefire. If this ceasefire continued to be a permanent ceasefire, then I think there will be a problem for Netanyahu for 2 reasons. A, his coalition partners said, we will not allow you to go for the second phase. That means we will continue our objective of eliminating Hamas and releasing the rest of the hostages. But I'm saying if the second phase does not take place, then Netanyahu is in trouble because he's fearing Trump, and Trump made it very clear that he wanted an end to this war. So therefore, we can hope that could be, will continue with the ceasefire. And thirdly and finally, maybe Israel go for an early elections. That means the Likud party is losing ground and popularity.
Okay, and Netanyahu has also said that Israel will continue to occupy the Philadelphia corridor. Is that a violation of the ceasefire deal? Could you elaborate on that? I mean, about this area that we are talking about, the Philadelphia corridor?
Yes, Philadelphia corridor is one of the prime important for the Israelis to cut the north and the south of Gaza Strip. In fact, Netanyahu is giving all this rhetoric, but in the agreement, it is very well mentioned that on the seventh day he has to pull out from this Philadelphia. But as I said, his coalition partners have warned him that the moment you pull out, we will definitely bring the government down, because they do not want any regrouping or restructuring of Hamas, and they want to continue with the surveillance and secure the security of Israel from this point of view. So therefore, denying the Palestinian access to Egypt through this passage of, especially from the Philadelphia path, because they think this is the spine of the Palestinian livelihood, to the lifeline for the Palestinian to come across. So if they continue, it's not only a violation for the truce, but it's also a violation of the Camp David Accord that Israel signed in 1978 with the Egyptians.